Hello and welcome to the Appleby Hour. I am Appleby, and I've already spoken to you on my working definition of art. But if you missed that video, it's evidence of intent. It's real broad, and I know I'll get criticism for that, but I think it's a definition worth exploring, worth working with. And now I'd like to, as the title says, explore philosophy as a medium because obviously, if art is as simple as evidence of intent, philosophy falls under that, right? So do the sciences, so science is an art, and I'll get into it. Um, so philosophy, what is it the art of? It's to a certain extent the art of subjective expression, the philosopher's experience of life. They want to let people know how they see the world, and usually that results from a person who sees the world quite differently, or someone who sort of rubs the wrong way when they come into contact with the world. And that's certainly true for me. And I think that the best philosophy is born out of this relationship, the self to the world. And so philosophy, as with all art, is an expression of personality, of the ego of the creator. And this extends throughout all of philosophy and into even the natural sciences. If I had to link it to Jungian typology, which I do like doing, uh, introverted thinking, that's the sort of anal math loving sort of they want to dissect everything and make sure things fit together. And that impulse, I think, in art led to the realist movement. And a lot of people are like, oh well, that's dead. Artists aren't making still lives and realistic portraits and sculptures of the human form. Oh, how wonderful we once were. But I don't think that's true. I think that movement evolved into the sciences. There's a strain there. And I mean that's what science is, right? It's the obsessive sort of cataloging of the world. We want to cut things into boxes. We want to categorize. We want to describe with as much precision as is humanly possible. I mean, to the point where now we've reached this point in quantum mechanics where we've reached this limit where information cannot be extracted further. We've hit a veil between us and reality, which seems impossible to cross. Uh, but never count us out. I think the sciences are some of our best works. They look at all the things that they've allowed us to do. Look at what I am allowed to do now as a artist and philosopher, using these wonderful instruments created by products of the scientific method. Because we understand the world, we can manipulate. We've gotten down to the very basic building blocks, and we're finally gaining control over them. DNA in the cell are becoming our playthings. The atom already is. The elementary particles are becoming understood fully. And I mean, look what we can do with just silicon wafers. The computer this is running on, the AIs that we're giving rise to, truly remarkable creations, artistic creations, in my opinion. And although sometimes, I like to talk about the idea of artfulness. What is artfulness? It's almost like it's intentional intent. you know, it's you want to do things in a way that is beautiful, is elegant, which fits the form of what you're doing. And I do think that while science is an art, it is often not very artfully done. And one of the biggest criticisms I could give of modern science is that it's not made very accessible to the public. I understand that a lot of the loftier sort of things being discussed in the sciences are very inaccessible. But I think it is the job of the scientist, of the science communicator, to make those ideas accessible. Like, take for example, Hawking radiation. Now, the normal explanation of Hawking radiation is that uh, pairs of particles and antiparticles are constantly being created and then coming together and being destroyed, right? And sometimes this happens at the event horizon of a black hole. And nothing can escape the event horizon of a black hole because the escape velocity there is higher than the speed of light, which really shouldn't be called the speed of light. It's the speed of causality. It's as fast as things can happen in the universe. So that particle will never be recovered, and the other particle shoots off. Now, this does account for some of Hawking radiation, uh, but not the vast majority of it. The vast majority of it is caused by other effects that I'm going to be totally honest with you, I don't fully get. And Hawking sort of made the decision that, well, I'll just simplify it, to the point of making it totally inaccurate, for the sake of public understanding, which is just, that is not science artfully done. Okay, that's kind of the thing I want to push against in the scientific community. So how is philosophy artfully done? Well, I think a certain elegance should be sought after. A certain, almost like, I think it was Michelangelo who said that, people are always throwing the quote around, whoever said it, of the sculpture is already in the stone, you know? And that should be what philosophy is. You look at reality, you look at the relationships between the things in reality, and you find the through line, you find the commonality, the place where things sort of rest, the equilibrium. And you can cut it, a bunch of different ways, the same way you could create uh, basically an infinite amount of sculptures from the same block of stone. And, I strive for that in my thinking because I don't claim to be an expert. But I do believe that every person, you can't move through reality without coming up with some sort of thought, some opinion on its contents. It simply isn't possible, unless you have severely reduced faculties. It simply isn't possible. Everyone is an artist. Everyone is a philosopher. They cannot help but be. Now, to label yourself, that's a different thing, to take on that label and to live it out is sort of a different level. But I think everyone has something to offer, and so I'm not going to be intimidated out of like, God, the philosophy scene is so bankrupt because it's people talking about philosophy, but they don't offer up their own things. I'm here to offer up what I have. Yeah, you know what? That's a good place to end off on. I think I've gotten out what I needed out. Uh, Now, I'd love to hear what you think. Share it around. Subscribe. Obviously, turn that hit that bell. Hit it. Um, Thank you for watching. I've been Appleby, and see you next time.